Welcome into another episode of Hockey Talk in the Desert Southwest Playoff Push. This is episode number 2. We're proud to bring it to you on Wednesday night, live here from our studios in Arizona, talking NHL and AHL hockey. Tonight we've got a very special guest to inform us on the AHL playoffs coming up for the Tucson Roadrunners. Mr. Tim Gassen, the color analyst for the Tucson Roadrunners, will join us for a couple of segments. We also got a special guest from the Tucson Roadrunners, Aiden Hill, the starting goaltender and one of the top goaltenders in the AHL, will join us for a few minutes. But right now, let's break it down and tell you a little bit about what's been going on in the playoffs. If you're not up to date on it, we'll get you there. First and foremost, we want to talk about our Vegas Golden Knights, who completed the 4-0 sweep of the LA Kings last night in Los Angeles. The 1-0 win, the goal scored by Braden McNabb, the one-time Los Angeles King and now Golden Knight. Another outstanding performance from Marc-Andre Fleury, as he did an outstanding job in net, has been superb all playoffs long. And the Golden Knights have now done the unthinkable. They've won 4 straight games and now get a little time off to rest while they wait to find out who they're going to play next. The winner of the San Jose Anaheim series. Right now the Sharks lead that series 3-0, and we'll be playing later tonight as we go through this broadcast. Get a couple updates on the NHL games that have been completed. Boston currently leads Toronto 2-1. Columbus Blue Jackets lead the Capitals 2-1. Winnipeg 3-1 over Minnesota, with a possible deciding 5th game coming up. The San Jose Sharks, as I mentioned, 3-0 over Anaheim. Nashville 2-1 over Colorado. Tampa Bay Lightning 2-1 over the New Jersey Devils, and the Pittsburgh Penguins and Philadelphia Flyers playing right now, with Pittsburgh leading that series 2-1. As we approach the start of the AHL playoffs, the Tucson Roadrunners will be in action tomorrow night in San Jose. A very rare occurrence that this would happen. Of course, in the AHL, the first round games are best 3 out of 5 series, and because of the record of the Roadrunners, they had the option of choosing whether they wanted to play their games at home to start the series or play them on the road. They elected to play the first 2 games in San Jose on Thursday night and Saturday night, and then will return to play in the Tucson Arena on Wednesday, and then Friday, Saturday if necessary. So we look forward to keeping all of you up to date on the upcoming events. So in just a minute, we'll be right back with Mr. Tim Gassen, and we'll talk a little AHL Tucson Roadrunner playoff hockey. We'll be right back. All right, another edition of Hockey Talk in the Desert Southwest Playoff Push. It's our Wednesday edition. We're taping it a little early because we're down here at the Roadrunner game tonight. I've got the color analyst of the Tucson Roadrunners and the AZ Puck man, Tim Gassen, with me. Tim, welcome back.
Hi, Scott. Thank you for having me. Thanks for coming back down to Tucson. It's the last regular season game for the Roadrunners. It's a very exciting time for AHL hockey in Arizona.
Tell me a little bit about how we got to where we are. We've got a playoff clinched. We've got a division championship, and now we have a conference championship. How did this all happen, Tim?
Yeah, the Tucson Roadrunners have had a really consistent, amazing year. Earlier this week, they wrapped up the Pacific Division in the AHL. Last night here at home, they beat the San Diego Gulls and wrapped up the Western Conference, which means they're the champions of half of the American Hockey League. What that means practically for the Roadrunners is they have home ice advantage throughout their playoff run in these AHL playoffs. But that's unusual for Tucson because they play so much better away from home than they do at home. Their record is about twice as good on the road as they are at home. So that means they've chosen for the first round of the playoffs, they're going to start on the road. Now, we don't know who they're going to play at. That's going to be decided tonight after tonight's game, depending on who wins and loses. But they're going to play the first 2 games. They've chosen to play the first 2 games of the playoffs on the road, and then they'll play the next 3 here in Tucson. The first round is the best of 5. I find that really unusual. They don't get to pick from then on. Right. From then on, it's set by the seeding. But I thought it was very interesting that for the first round, the Tucson Roadrunners chose to start on the road.
Who makes that decision? Is that Coach Van Ryn?
That's a coaching decision because he knows his guys. He knows how they're playing right now. And that's one of the things for these last couple of home games. They've already wrapped up their spot and everything. So I was wondering what kind of attitude they were going to have going into these games. Well, guess what? They want to improve their play at home because they know to have a deep run in the AHL playoffs, they're going to have to win some decisive playoff games, some really important playoff games at home. So they need to get better at home. And you see, that's the exciting thing about this team. Whatever they've achieved, Coach Van Ryn has been able to get them to focus on something they could do better.
Right.
So it's like, oh, well, you're division champions. Well, you guys aren't playing that well at home. Always a new goal, always a new something for them to get better at. And I think that's been one of the keys to the success for the Roadrunners this year. Coach Van Ryn has really been able to press the right buttons with this group of guys to keep getting better. And last year's Roadrunners squad was in first place for the first half of the season, then really tailed off. This team with the new coaching staff and a lot of new faces has been very consistent, and they're really riding high into the AHL playoffs.
So when we talk about guys, we talk about some new guys that are old guys that got brought back down from the Coyotes, and they're going to make a difference, aren't they?
Yeah, Dylan Strome, of course, the sensational rookie, has been sent down. He's been up and down throughout the year with the Coyotes and really didn't produce as much up there as he was down here, except at the end of the season. The very last time he was brought up to the Coyotes at the tail end of the season, he performed much more at the NHL level like he had been doing at the AHL level. So he's been sent back down, red hot, had a good game last night. He's the X factor for the Roadrunners in these playoffs, even though he's just a rookie. But the Coyotes also sent down 3 defensemen with experience. As you know, in the playoffs, you're going to have to win a lot of close games. You win championships with defense. Tucson suddenly has great defensive depth, and so that's looking good for the playoff run too.
We'd also be remiss if we didn't talk about the trade deadline acquisitions. Carter Camper, a big part of it, isn't he?
Now, this is an amazingly good acquisition
right?
For the Tucson Roadrunners because we lost Nick Berkeley, who had the #1 shooting percentage in the AHL, meaning he scored the most goals for the least number of shots, was having an incredible season. He got knocked out. We really wondered, and Dylan Strome was gone for a lot of the season up and down to the Coyotes, so we're wondering, where's more consistent scoring going to develop from? And Carter Camper has brought that in. So consistent. Mario Kempe has been good. Mike Sislo has been good. They've really developed second and tertiary scoring. That's what you need for a championship team too. So all those parts seem to be coming together at the right time for the Roadrunners.
And one thing that didn't have to come together for you guys was the goaltending situation. You had Aiden Hill and you had Hunter Miska, who both performed unbelievably well this season. And when they started out hot and continued throughout the season, that was kind of the backbone, wasn't it?
Now this is fascinating because Coach Van Ryn, again, pressing the right buttons, he kept alternating Hunter Miska and Aiden Hill. And if you don't handle that correctly, that can create a division on your team, or it can be confusing for your team who's playing. But it was every other game, he alternated for a good portion of the season until very late in the season. He decided, okay, Aiden Hill has pulled ahead. He's going to be the horse that we're going to ride in the playoffs. That gave rookie Hunter Miska a lot more ice time that he would have gotten normally. It kept Aiden Hill fresh. It's really worked out well for the team. And as you said, both were incredibly successful in the pipes. But I think they're going to ride Aiden Hill as far as they can go in the playoffs.
Tim, let's take a quick break. We'll come right back and we'll talk about the teams that are going to be facing the Roadrunners down the stretch, okay? We'll be right back with Tim Gassen.
Today's odor elimination, sanitizing, and deodorizing market, air spaces and fabrics are treated with very aggressive, highly toxic, and often very dangerous but cheap chemical-based solutions. These chemicals have harmful residues and pollutants that can impact your health and the well-being of those around you. This is the bad news. The good news is there's something better. That something is OxyPal. OxyPal is a fast-growing company based in Phoenix, Arizona, with franchises opening across North America. OxyPal has developed a way to eliminate, not mask or disguise, all organic-based odors in any airspace or on any fabric surface with ozone, also called trioxygen. Ozone is present in the atmosphere, and it is what protects our planet, our environment, and every living thing on Earth. Through years of research and development, OxyPal has perfected a way to harness and apply this powerful solution to purify airspaces and fabric surfaces safely and effectively, eliminating all organic bacteria, viruses, mold, fungi, and allergens on the molecular level. OxyPal has designed and perfected many next-generation and evolutionary alternative products and services safe for people, pets, and our planet. The solutions offered by OxyPal are stronger, safer, non-toxic, and a great value. Visit our website and online store today at www.oxypal.com. On our website, you can make a service appointment, buy products, or learn more about us and our great franchising opportunities.
All right, we're back with the AZ Puckman, the color analyst for the Tucson Roadrunners. Tim Gassen is back with us for another segment. Tim, we talked about the Roadrunners and their squad in the first segment. Now let's talk about some of the opponents and what we expect out of the opponents that the Roadrunners could be facing. So first up, who's your guess for the first round?
So 7 of the other playoff spots have been determined. There's one playoff spot to be determined, and that's the team that Tucson plays. It's the only AHL spot that has not been determined yet, and we'll know by the end of tonight. Tucson plays San Diego here at home tonight. If San Diego gets a point, if they get it to overtime, or if they win the game, they will be Tucson's opponent. If they don't, then it's the winner of, I believe, the Stockton and San Jose game tonight.
So you've seen them all.
Yes.
Tell me who you want to see them face in the first round.
You know, we've talked about this, and of course you don't get to choose who you get to play, and you're going to have to play all the good teams anyway, so it's kind of a silly thing to talk about. Well, that's if you're the coaching staff. But I can talk about that kind of stuff. We want to play San Diego. We seem to have San Diego's number. We won the season series with San Diego this year, and we seem to match up really well against San Diego. Stockton doesn't seem to be as talented a team as Tucson, but they're a very physical team. That gives the Tucson Roadrunners trouble. Ontario is a very skilled team. They also have given the Tucson Roadrunners trouble. And San Jose has played really well down the stretch, so they would be a very hot team in the playoffs. You know, like I said, it's a new season. You can't determine exactly how teams are going to play in the postseason. I mean, Tucson's been very hot. That doesn't mean that they'll be that as effective in the playoffs. But as it sits today, on the last day of the regular season, I think for the first round, Tucson matches up best with San Diego. Now, of course, to get out of your division and go on to the playoffs, you have to win 2 series with in your division. So Tucson's going to have to play either Ontario or Stockton or San Jose anyway. They're going to have to play a couple of those good teams. Then they go and play one more playoff series to get out of their conference. Now I'm going to guess that's going to be one of 2 teams, and both have played here in Tucson this year: the Chicago Wolves and the Grand Rapids Griffins. Those 2 teams, if they were in the Pacific Division, it would have been neck and neck with Tucson for the championship. Those are the 2 best teams I've seen in the AHL this year, other than Tucson, and that's going to be a whale of a series. They both play Tucson very competitively, very talented, very deep, well-coached teams. I would put my money, if Tucson gets out of their division and gets to the conference finals, they're going to play Chicago or Grand Rapids. And then, of course, then they play the finals. And on the other side, the Toronto Marlies have just wiped out that side of the conference, have played so well. I put my money on playing Toronto. And what an incredible AHL final that would be. Tucson and Toronto, because by then it'll probably be late May or June. Right. It'll be 110 degrees in the Tucson arena here, and probably get all the way up to like 60 degrees in Toronto, right? Right. So, and hey, I'd be happy to take that road trip up to Toronto for that. But you know, that's a lot of playoff series in the future. Tucson's got to start with their best of 5 against whoever their very first opponent is. Try to win that, and then see if they can march forward. But I think they have all the elements to march pretty deep into these playoffs.
I'm sure everybody can hear in the background the music's being cranked up here in the Tucson Arena.
The Tucson Arena, people are starting to file in. We're getting ready for the last regular season game. And as you've talked about, Scott, this is a good home ice advantage for Tucson. It gets really rocking in here.
So tell me about your fan support. Last weekend I was down here, and another near sellout, if not. What's it been like? Is this Tucson's catching on to hockey, aren't they?
Well, they certainly are. You know, the University of Arizona Wildcat Hockey team draws well in the same arena. It holds like 6,700. I thought that Tucson's attendance had grown more this year. I write about this, and I'm also the columnist for the Arizona Daily Star newspaper, hockey columnist here at Tucson. And I write about this in tomorrow's column, the Sunday column for the Star. They've increased their attendance by only about 100 fans this year, from about 4,050 to about 4,150. I was surprised with that. I thought it had risen more than that. It's been explained to me that I shouldn't be disappointed, or we shouldn't be disappointed by like a 4% rise in attendance, which is like what 100 fans is, because a lot of teams, new teams in a new market, will actually go backwards in their second year, because the first year is kind of a honeymoon, and everyone comes out to check it out. In the second year, it declines a little bit before starting to go back up again. So they're actually, the management is actually very encouraged that attendance actually went up in the second year, but the crowds are very enthusiastic. For the playoffs, it's going to be 6,000 and up to sellouts.
Yep.
So they, obviously want to go as deep into the playoffs as they can.
Tim, let's take another quick break. I'll come back and wrap things up. We'll talk a little NHL playoffs. I want to get your opinion on who you like in the NHL playoffs, and we'll take it from there. So we'll be right back with one more segment with Tim Gassen.
We need you. We need you. We need you to support Wildcat Hockey.
The Wildcats are back in action, and it's time to show your U of A pride at the TCC Arena. Please call for tickets or come to the TCC box office. U of A hockey is affordable and fun for the entire family.
We need you. We need you.
We need you to support U of A Wildcat Hockey.
All right, we're back for the final segment of Ice Time Hockey Talk in the Desert Southwest, the playoff push. Tim Gassen is still with me. Tim, I'm going to put you on the spot now and make you talk a little NHL playoff hockey. As we know, the series started last week, and some of the teams have already got 2 games of none advantages. I'm talking about the Vegas Golden Knights in our coverage area. So tell me a little bit about what you've seen from the NHL side of the playoffs.
I never would pick the Vegas Golden Knights to go all the way to the finals, which means they're going to go to the finals. They're such a magical story. How can you bet against them? It's really interesting. I do think they're going to come up against some reality here, and some perhaps in the later rounds of the playoffs, but that's a magical story. I've been waiting forever. I've been a Winnipeg Jets fan since 1972, okay? So I'm a big Winnipeg Jets fan. I'm delighted to see them rising up. I'd like to see them go far. I don't know how far they can go. Likewise, I'm from Columbus, Ohio, so I'm a big Blue Jackets fan. I'd like them to go as far as they can go. I think it's a tough matchup, actually, with Washington in the first round.
Yeah, I think it is too.
For them. It's easy to keep talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins. Right. There's a reason why it's easy. They're a really good hockey team.
And they're defending champions.
And so I can see them going deep. And Nashville, too, has all the elements, to go deep. But this is what's great about the NHL playoffs. There's going to be at least 1 or 2 surprises that go deep into the playoffs. And more likely than not, it's not going to be who we think it's going to be. Although the last 2 years, the Penguins were the best team, and they did win. That's really difficult. Just because you're the best team doesn't mean you win the playoffs. Whether it's NCAA, whether it's AHL or NHL, it's the best team playing at that time that wins. And the NHL playoffs are so long. What a difficult championship to win. I'm just excited. Scott, you'll agree with me. There is nothing better than playoff hockey.
You're absolutely correct. And we witnessed one last night in Vegas, a double overtime game that the Knights won. They go up 2-0, and I don't know how far they can go either, but it's going to be really interesting. Well, Tim, I appreciate your time as always. I know you got to get up and get into the booth, but I appreciate you taking time to talk with us. And we'll be back in Tucson to see a little playoff hockey.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks for coming to Tucson. Thanks for Hockey Southwest for everything you do.
All right, we're talking playoff time here at the Tucson Roadrunners. We've got goaltender Aiden Hill with us. Aiden, first of all, welcome back and welcome to the playoffs.
Yeah, thank you.
Tell me what it's going to be like for you guys. You accomplished everything I think you wanted to during the season, right? So now it's playoff time. What do you guys have to do to continue to roll like this?
We just got to play our game. We got to keep it simple, play how we have been. Obviously, playoffs are a little more fast-paced, a little more physical. So, yeah, we just got to stick to our game, not get rattled by anything. There's a lot of momentum swings. We just got to stay even keel and play our game.
Did you guys have a preference on who you wanted to play in that first round, or was it just get in and take on whoever's there?
Yeah, no, it doesn't really matter. We got the Western Conference. We got the home ice for the first 3 rounds guaranteed, so that's nice. So from there, it's our game. It doesn't matter who we're playing. If we play the right way, we should come out with the right outcome.
Talk about the uniqueness of you guys going on the road for the first 2 games and then playing 3 straight at home if you need to.
Yeah, no, it's definitely different. I've never been on the road when you've had home ice to start, but it's a unique way to do it in the AHL here with a 5-game series.
What's the difference between a 5-game and a 3 and a 7-game for you guys?
I mean, just, I guess,
More
as
pressure
easy
for
as
you
it
guys,
is. Not really. It's first to 3, so it makes it kind of easier, but also harder in a way. So at the same time, you take it 1 game at a time either way.
Can you recap the regular season for me as far as everything that happened for you guys? I mean, you came together as a group. You won as many games as you could possibly win, and captured everything that you wanted to. Just give me a summary of how it felt for you.
It felt great. I mean, obviously, getting the Western Conference during the regular season is huge, but I thought we had a great team game all year, and it's nice that we were able to keep consistent throughout the whole season. And then from there on, I mean, that season's done. The playoff is a whole new season, so we got to go from here.
What's this coaching staff been like to play for?
They've been great. Our players, coaches, great guys. You can talk to them about anything, and they're here to help and make us better as a team.
You know, you had the opportunity to go up to the Coyotes a couple different times. Did you see the similarities between the way the programs run at both places?
Yeah, definitely. The systems are played the exact same way. Everyone's expected to do the exact same thing, so it's nice to have that synergy for anyone who gets called up or sent down.
Finally, tell us a little bit about the crowds here at the Tucson Arena and what that's meant to you guys for home ice.
Yeah, no, it's huge. We have a great crowd here. They're very loud. They're rambunctious. It's awesome. So I'm looking forward to the whiteout and playoffs.
Aiden, I appreciate your time. Good luck in the playoffs.
All right, we're back to wrap up another episode of Hockey Talk in the Desert Southwest Playoff Push. Episode number 2 is in the books. And I hope you all enjoyed the visit with the insight from Tim Gassen, the color analyst of the Tucson Roadrunners. Also had a chance, like I said, to visit with Aiden Hill right after the regular season finale in the Tucson Arena, where the Roadrunners are now set to play tomorrow night against the San Jose Barracuda in the first round of the AHL Playoffs. So we look forward to updating you again on Saturday with episode number 3 of Hockey Talk in the Desert Southwest, the Playoff Push. So for right now, I want to thank our sponsors. We want to thank OxyPal, Oceanside Ice Arena, and our good friends down at the University of Arizona for all their support, not only all season long, but certainly with the hockey playoff push that's going on as we speak. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and say a good night and a good farewell, and we'll see you Saturday.